colleagues. I welcome to all of you. I am officially opening the meeting of the Provincial, Police Oversight and Community Safety and Cultural Affairs and Sport Committee. I have not received any apologies, but I do note that there are some members online. Just want to check. I see them on your computer. I just want to make sure that I can also sight of them. Okay, colleagues, the purpose of the meeting, as you know, it's really a bit of a brainstorm before we go into the interviews. So what we are here to do is to discuss the questions we would like to ask. Something I would certainly like to add to that is whether we want to share the questions we agree on beforehand or whether we leave it until the meeting before we ask them. Then also we need to discuss how we're going to be conducting the interviews. It's only, from what I understand, 3 applicants, three that I saw. So it's not a long set of interviews there, but we need to discuss how we're going to be doing that. Then after that, we need to look at our oversight program, the committee program. Colleagues, you will all recall a lot of things got disrupted by the liquor bill, by the budget process. So we really need to get back to that we can get to the oversight section there. And I would like to remind you that we discussed 2 forms of oversight: the physical visits that we want to do. I think our health and wellness chairperson of this committee is really racing ahead of the rest of us, but also the content-based oversight. But we'll discuss that when we get there. So, colleagues, if I can go back to what the interview process that we want to discuss. Colleagues, we said there's a couple of areas that we agreed to in the last meeting. We wanted to explore the general compliance expertise and experience in the liquor trade. So to what extent do they understand the job? Then an understanding of the social impact of the liquor trade. Then we also said we want to have somebody that has a deep understanding of race and gender sensitivity and of persons of different communities and forms of sensitivities there, because we have a diverse Western Cape. Financial or legal practitioner expertise. We also looked at a good understanding of systems, call it transversal systems and accountability around management. A good understanding of ethics and demeanor. Hopefully we have people with high ethics. Yeah, it should actually be a non-negotiable, but we as a committee, we need to try to assess that because we want the most ethical people. A good understanding of stakeholder and community management. And then also a background and understanding of ICT systems, technological expertise, or understanding of the value of technology to help in this particular sector. So, colleagues, that's what we agreed on. We do have that on the screen. Now, certainly I've done a bit of homework and I've proposed questions for each one of those categories. But before we get there, perhaps if I can ask the committee their views, should we go into camera, discuss questions, and then not give it to the candidates beforehand? In the past, we had concerns that some candidates might have an idea of what the questions are, others don't. Alternatively, the other approach is maximum transparency and give all the questions that we agree on to each one of the candidates, and we conduct the interview on that basis. So before we get into the meat of the questions, I would like to ask the committee, let's go into a bit of a workshop mode. What are your views in terms of the questions and the confidentiality of questions? Any hands, any views? I'm nearly said you call you by your first name, Member Stevens.
Good morning, Chair. Good morning, everyone. I think we must go the same way as we did with the Commissioner of Children. That same way with the questions, Chair.
Any other views? Member van Minnen?
I want to support Member Stevens. With the Commissioner for Children, we chose to do it publicly, and it was screened on I want to say WhatsApp, not WhatsApp, on the link, on the YouTube link, because ultimately we represent the public, and we are selecting people to serve in a committee that looks at the interests of the public. And as such, I think it is important that we are as open as possible.
Colleagues, just in case there's a misunderstanding, as far as I'm concerned, it's not on the table whether it's public or not, the interviews. I think to me that's, in fact, with the Children's Commissioner approach, what we did was just to be sure we had a legal opinion brought in, which supported the view of the entire committee that it should be public. So I'm not saying or suggesting for a moment that the interviews are not public. What I'm asking is the questions that we are going to be generating now, should that be given beforehand to the, should we have it sent to all the candidates, or is it something we treat confidentially now in the committee in camera? Perhaps I wasn't clear enough. I see Member Glensu's hand as well.
Greetings to the committee and the chair. I think I'm not sure on because it is being cited, the previous interviews on how they were conducted. I was not part of it. But mine would to say, let's consider the conventional approach to interviews in this instance. That's my submission. What do I mean by that? That we do not disclose the questions to the potential candidates till the day of the interview. Thanks.
Member van Minnen.
I actually tend to agree with the approach suggested by Member Nwensu, because what we did with the Children's Commissioner is we asked them prior to please give us a presentation, so they were prepared for that, and then we followed it up with various questions. So we heard from them how they would conceive of the job, and then we followed up with questions. Because it was open as soon as they were initially asked, obviously then if anybody had been watching, they wouldn't know what the questions would be. But we didn't send the questions out before, no, but we weren't. So we didn't send them out before, but we didn't have it in camera so everyone knew what they were after the initial engagement.
Colleagues, so it sounds like there's agreement that we do not send the questions beforehand. That brings me to I don't have strong feelings either way on that, but it does bring me to a very pertinent point. If we're going to be discussing the questions, then I would like to declare the meeting then in camera, because then the questions are going to be confidential. So for the discussion around how we're going to conduct the interview and what questions we're going to ask for in terms of deliberating that, I can ask then that the committee goes in camera. You're in a position to do that. Yeah. So in other words, we go into a confidential session. And then also, if there are any members of the public or anyone listening, obviously the public will see the questions and the interviews, once we get to the interview stage. But for the purposes of the integrity of the interview process, we need to be going into a confidential session. Should I give you a moment?
Yes, Chair.
Colleagues,